purchase grocery. So we have to line up like one behind another, like you're trying to line to go into a bank or wherever. We just line up like slave to use the shower. And if the hot water done on you, either you're going to use it brave and use the ice water because the water is ice cold, or you going to wait until the water heat up again. So yeah, washing now, it was one machine, it wasn't functioning properly, so most of the time you have to wash with your hands. And I sure you're supposed to receive a picture of that tub already, that washing, how brown and discolored it is. Yes, you're very close when you use the water wash it, it discolors it. So even though you're working clothes, it still discolored it. Because that was one thing I was brief, do not wash your goat in clothes in it. Because the guys where I come long time tell me, say don't use the water to wash your good clothes. So when I wash my work clothes, I realize say brown. When rain fall, your clothes wet on the line, and if you don't have any dry clothes upstairs, you will have to wear that wet clothes to work. Yes. So a lady realized that we didn't have any washing machine. We need a extra washing machine, and put together, the guys and put together and pay $10 for the machine and take it over the bunkhouse. You know what the employer did? She smashed it and threw it outside in the garbage. So apparently she didn't happy about it. They purchased it there with their own money, you know. When you talk about internet and phone, we didn't have access to none of those either. We have to come together and get internet and to get a company to come and install internet to the house so we can have internet to use. So my family didn't know till days after I reached Canada. With help, I could able to get a plan and get a phone, because I didn't bring my Jamaican phone with me. So that's how I managed to obtain a plan to make my family know that I reached in Canada safe. So everything set up is just a modern slavery days. You have no rights. No rights. They tell you when to work, when to stop work. So when we work 7 to 7 in the field, they take me to do another 5 or 6 hours in the barn. And that's daily. It's just a modern slavery days. You have no rights. No rights. They tell you when to work, when to stop work. So when we work 7 to 7 in the field, they take me to do another 5 or 6 hours in the barn. And that's daily. And you cannot say no. Especially a new man, you dare not say no. Yes. So
17 hours a day.
Overworked.
So the overtime is
can't eat, can't sleep, cause the heat. It just endless, man. Number one, it traumatized me. The living condition traumatized me up to today. Guys, I want me one to do 2-man job. I have to tell him, say no, this is where me draw the line now. Because I realize you people these bosses don't abide by the laws and rules that's set by the land. And I don't work for people like these. Because whenever time something wrong, you are going to get the end of the stick. So I don't work for people like these. So yeah, one day we take off 6-acre land, man. 6 acre, 4-pound hammer. Every nerves in my hand mash up. They have to just go home and go on my bed. I couldn't hold a knife. 6-acre tomato was take off in one day with a 4-pound hammer. Imagine I use a 4-pound hammer from 7 till when. You imagine that, not even carpenter no use a hammer. Because back home I was an A1 carpenter and I never use a hammer so long yet. When it comes to meeting the next morning, we have to meet first before we start work and they gave us the contract to sign. That's where the intimidation and verbal abuse come in. Because they don't want you to even read the very contract that they gave you. You have to sign it right away. Not only that, they are drafting up a contract of their own stating that you have to work 7 days a week. And that is the more critical one if you don't sign it. The moment she drafted it up and gave me that one, I begin to think about it. Do I really want to work 7 days a week? For how many hours? And there's no limited hours. The only time you get limited hours is in the field. So you will work 7 to 7 and 7 to 8 if they need extra. If they need extra load, you have to work till 8 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, day is still broad light here, because a summer. Yes, sun was set till 9:30 and stuff. So, yes. Other than that, so when they overwork you and you got injured, any farmer injured at all, they refuse you from getting medical help as well. Yes. They intimidate you, them threaten you. Listen, man, I've never been disrespected in my entire life. Never been ever disrespectful, being so disrespected by an employer in all my life. The verbal abuse in listen, man, yet she tell me something, you know. She handle me, man. I say, handle me, no, man. You can't say they hungry you like dog because dogs are allowed to live a certain type of life here. The dog were living in a better house than us, were eating better than us, drinking better water than us. Yes. Not kidding you, I kid you not. Nice brick house the dog live in a. Nice brick. I talk about real house where people can live in a. Yes. That's the type of house the dog live in.
Visualize what the farm program is and what Canada's agricultural system is. It's a plantation system that destroys and does not provide dignity for the men and women who work and sacrifice their lives here in Canada. It's high time that both the Jamaican officials and Canadian officials look and listen to these important words that you heard tonight and change the conditions so no worker is tied to an employer, that no worker who is sick and injured is sent back home for their health to deteriorate, to ensure that wage theft ends and workers are paid what they're owed. Which is a really serious consequence of not happening here. And to end the practices where workers are being sprayed with pesticides and chemicals while they work. This is a system that many of us consider a form of apartheid. Apartheid in the Great White North of Canada. A system that racially subordinates and subjugates a group of workers whose labor we should be valuing. So it's high time that the Minister of Labour of Jamaica, of Ontario, and of the Government of Canada listen to the voice of these brave and courageous brothers and do the right thing. End this injustice and provide dignity, respect, and fairness. So no worker comes back home in a casket and no worker's life is destroyed because of terrible and deplorable working conditions.
In relation to, there seems to be a concern, Chris, that if the boat is rocked, if there are complaints about the terrible conditions we heard described, that the program may end and therefore thousands of Jamaican families may be at a disadvantage. Do you think it's as black and white as that?
I think it's important that if we value the contributions that Jamaican workers have been provided to our food system since 1966, that they come to work under Canada under good conditions. It doesn't have to correlate into calling for changes to ending the program. None of us are saying that workers should not come to Canada. We're saying that we value their labor, it's skilled labor, and they should be paid according. They should be provided decent accommodations, working in conditions that aren't dangerous, and provided with permanent status where they are not tied to an employer and they do have labor and social mobility. So it's not black and white. It's not saying by improving conditions for all guest workers, all temporary foreign workers, that the program will end.
All right, Shane Martinez, let me bring you in here, and I don't have a whole heap of time, so give us a capsule somewhere for my viewers of this.
That's Canadian saying that, man. What Jamaican saying? Not like that.
Racial discrimination by the police against migrant workers, including
Jamaica not back revenue come back to Jamaica.
So yes, earlier this month, there was a decision from the Human Rights Tribunal of Ontario that
one more white man be good.
racially
Be white
discriminated
people are different.
against 54
Black people.
migrant farm workers, many of whom were from Jamaica, when in October of 2013 they conducted a DNA sweep in a farming community in southern Ontario. Despite the fact that they had a very specific description of the suspect, they targeted any migrant farm worker who was from the Caribbean, even if they didn't match the description of the suspect at all. They obtained a copy of their DNA, and then they actually stored that DNA in a database, which is unlawful and contrary to the Criminal Code of Canada. So not only did they racially discriminate against these workers, but they also violated their privacy by maintaining their DNA in this database. There was a decision from the Human Rights Tribunal finding that this was racial discrimination and awarding monetary compensation to 54 workers who came forward. But although that decision is a landmark case in a number of respects, we can't really rest on our laurels with it. There's much more work that needs to be done. We're talking about a system here where workers can come to Canada for 10, 15, 20, 25 years. They can never obtain permanent residence here. The government of Canada prevents them from doing that. They are separated from their families in Jamaica. They're not allowed to bring their spouses and their children here. They are banned from unionizing here in the province of Ontario. They have to endure racist abuse from the police, as I described a moment ago, and also from some employers. And when we look at all of this, I would respectfully say that I'm not surprised that the government pulled out of coming on the show tonight, because this is a system which is absolutely indefensible. And for an uptown politician, a soft-handed politician, to go and publicly state that this program is operating in an acceptable manner is really something that requires a degree of audacity. And I think what we need to do is trust the words of these workers that we've heard tonight, and we need to honor and respect their contributions, and we need to make sure that their rights are protected.
On our end, there's multiple workers from Jamaica and other parts of the Caribbean who are taking on cases against their employers, bringing up cases of wage theft, concerns around pesticides and chemicals. We're also continuing the fight against racial policing and racist policing practices through the enormously amazing work of Mr. Martinez. So yes, we've got multiple issues that are coming up the pipeline that we'll gladly talk with you further in details. And just to all the sisters and brothers and comrades who are watching, you have lots of our love, you have lots of respect. There are thousands, if not millions of people who support you. Keep the struggle, keep fighting together with you.